Is it rolling, Bob? Hola, gente. YTPC. Happy International Pipe Smoking Day. Smoking a pipe. I'm early, I know that. This is Thursday. Pipe Smoking Day is February 20th, Monday. But here in the northeastern U.S., I got to take my warm days when I can find them. I have to smoke out in my smoke hut, and it gets cold out here. So if it's anything below the mid 40s or a little above, it's a little uncomfortable to sit out here. But the last couple of days have been crazy warm. It's like 60 degrees. So I thought I'd give it a shot. Haven't been on YouTube in quite some time. I prefer to make a video when I go to my woodlot, which I haven't done since I think November, until yesterday. I had a great day in the woods yesterday, but it was a little windy and it was surprisingly about 6 inches of wet snow on the ground. We have zero snow here, but my woodlot is a place that's a little further north from here and substantially higher elevation, something like 1,000 feet or more. So gets a little more wintry up there. I did have a nice smoke there yesterday, and I'm trying to do that again today. What I'm smoking is called Tashkent. Now I know you came here for your geography lesson. Tashkent is the capital city of Uzbekistan. Formerly part of the Soviet Union, I believe. But this tobacco, Tashkent, is delightful. May well become one of my favorites. Not that I'm sophisticated enough yet to have a lot of favorites. But I got it at L.J. Peretti's shop in downtown Boston. Finally got down there back in maybe October. Been trying to get down there for a couple of years now, but between COVID and just life, it didn't happen until this past fall. But I've heard a couple of good reviews of Tashkent. One was Beans, and the other was Chris at Eldridge Pipes, and they seemed to like it. So I had it on my list and picked up an ounce. I'll almost certainly be getting some more one of these days. This blend has Izmir, Turkish, and Latakia. It's called an English blend, I guess, because of the Latakia. But it also has the so-called Orientals. As far as I know, it doesn't have any Virginia or Burley, so it would be quite unusual. It's slightly sweet, perhaps. Very smooth, at least the first half of the bowl. Burns well. This is first match, Aldi match so far. I really like a tobacco that stays lit. Not too dry, but something that produces some smoke and doesn't have to be relit every 2 minutes. This seems to fit the bill. I'm smoking in a, I think it's a no-name Algerian briar that I picked up on eBay as an estate pipe a while ago, and I totally renovated, restored it, sanded it all down and put some oil on it. And for a cheap pipe, it has virtually no fills. Hasn't been smoked much. Smokes well. I like the look of it and the feel of it. It, I guess you'd call that a pot. The sides of the bowl are kind of straight, parallel, and very simple shape, but it does the job. It's got pretty thick walls, so it stays cool. Almost went out because I'm talking too much. See if we can rejuvenate this a little bit. I usually use a match, but I don't want to fiddle with a match right now. So that's Tashkent in an Algerian briar. Had a good day in the woods yesterday. The air was warm, even if my feet were cold in the wet snow. I wasn't really prepared for all that snow, so I didn't get as much work done as I might have liked. Trudging through the snow, carrying beach logs around that I brought home for my bowl turning on the lathe. Wearing this, I wore this jacket yesterday. It's a classic LL Bean hunter's plaid. I'm not sure if this was mine or even my father's. It's been kicking around here for a long time. I kind of had it hidden away somewhere. By chance I came across it and glossed it up. It's in good shape. But as I like to say, this jacket is so old. If I had to guess, I'd say it's at least 30 years old. $25 anyway. This jacket is so old that it was made in the USA. You'd be hard pressed to find a decent jacket made in the USA anymore without spending a fortune on it. But I like to wear it and think about the olden days when I was young and my father was still alive. I used to spend a lot more time in the woods back in those days. But now that I'm on the downward glide, I might have a little more time to do that. One thing that was very different about my trip yesterday is that traditionally I would cook on the fire, my campfire, hot dogs and beans. Just roast a couple of dogs and put a can of beans over the fire and warm them up. But not yesterday. Yesterday I made baked vegetables. I brought with me sweet potatoes and carrots and onions and wrapped them up in tin foil. A little salt and oil in there. Let the fire burn down to coals and heap the coals over this bundle. Let it bake for an hour. While I was doing that, I roasted some nuts in a small frying pan. If you haven't tried that, just get a variety of nuts: peanuts, walnuts, cashews. What else? That might have been it. A couple of raisins perhaps, and then throw in some salt and cumin, and just toast them gently over the fire. Don't burn them, but just enough to heat them through and maybe turn them a little brown. Let it cool down. It's great. And why did I make that change? Well, I probably spent too much time on YouTube, but I discovered a YouTube podcast by this guy named Rich Roll. I won't tell you his whole life story, but he's a very interesting guy, and he's got this podcast where he interviews just a wide range of very interesting people. As he likes to say, there are prophets among us. And he finds these people and he'll just sit down and on video in his nice studio. He'll talk to them for a couple of hours. And at times he'll take clips from a number of different interviews, discussions, and put them together. What's he call them? Not a course. Oh boy. Anyway, he'll put these together on a particular subject. And back in December, I was watching. We were taking a long train ride, and I watched one of his courses, discussions on, I don't like to say veganism, that's got some connotations, but whole food, plant-based eating. And all the benefits of going to that kind of diet. I suspect pipe smoking is not included. I wish there was more in there. This is so good. Anyway, so I'm giving it a try. I'm trying to cut out, I'm not orthodox, but I'm trying to cut out animal-based products. I mean, that's like everything. I try to avoid meat, especially, and dairy, and even fish to a large extent. Why? Well, because apparently there's all kinds of health benefits to doing that. And I'm pretty healthy, but my cholesterol was creeping up, so doctors got me on a statin. And we live what I like to think of as a pretty healthy lifestyle. We exercise regularly. I'll never darken the door of a McDonald's. Really tried to cut out as much sugar as possible, although I love desserts. Don't drink alcohol to excess. Don't smoke cigarettes, all that stuff. But as I said, my cholesterol is a little higher than it should be. And the thing that gets me the most is that even though I eat what is a pretty good diet, and and exercise quite a bit. You know, my wife and I, we cycle together and we run together, if you can call it running at our age. But I've been, for, I don't know, a long time, you know, about 20 pounds heavier than I should be. Technically, I'm overweight, or, you know, yeah, I'm still overweight. The bathroom mirror doesn't lie. I think it was in high school, I was playing football and I was like 165 pounds. Maybe as high as 170 as a senior, but I'm not even sure about that. And for years now I've been flirting with 195. And it's just too much. So I decided to try to make a change, and trying this whole food plant-based diet. So what does that mean? You know, veganism, you can be a vegan and eat all kinds of crap as long as it doesn't have meat or dairy in it, but that's why they call it whole food plant-based. The idea, and this is not new by any stretch, you know, if you've read any of Michael Pollan's books, he's always said, you know, eat plants mostly, you know, eat real food, and that's what this whole food plant-based thing is all about. You try to eat things that are close to their original condition, not processed. So you know, we're eating a lot of rice and grains and leafy vegetables and fruits, nuts. And I won't go into any of the details, but there's, you know, the standard argument is, where do you get your protein? Well, there's plenty of protein in these foods, so I'm not worried about that. And been doing it for a couple of months now, and so far I'm pretty happy with the results. I feel good and lost a few pounds, and I'll be very interested to see what happens next time I go to the doctor and get my blood work done and see if any of my numbers have come down. Pretty sure they will. But that's thanks to the power of YouTube. You know, there's interesting people out there doing interesting things. And as I always say, YouTube is great, but you have to know just enough about what you're looking at to know if it's reasonable or not, if it makes sense. And this Rich Roll brings on people that I have a lot of faith in. I've watched a lot of his videos and the videos of the people that he's brought on, and read some books, and I'm pretty convinced that it's the real deal. As they say, you know, the leading killers of Americans, in addition to smoking, is heart disease and diabetes, hypertension, all these things that can be corrected by better eating. You know, the American the standard American diet is just a nightmare today. The stuff that people eat, by and large, some more so than others, but we're eating all the wrong stuff for a lot of reasons. But for those of us who have some time and resources and information, it's not that hard to make a significant change in the way we eat. And I got to believe, based on everything I've studied so far, that it's good for just about everybody. All these fad diets you hear about, the Atkins diet and the paleo diet and the keto diet and all that stuff. Human beings did not evolve eating that stuff. You know, like to talk about the caveman diet. I used to think that was a great idea. Never really tried it too much, but something that somebody pointed out, and it makes a whole lot of sense to me, is that human beings evolved a long time before we had stone tools. And once we had stone tools and weapons, we started eating a lot more meat. But we didn't really evolve that way. You know, we've been using stone tools for, I don't know, 100,000 years or something, but we were evolving for millions before then. So our bodies are not necessarily designed to eat a whole lot of meat. yeah, there's plenty of people that swear by it, and I think they will find eventually that they've ventured down the wrong path. So I'm not ranting here, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you're a little unhappy about your health or your weight or your lab numbers from the doctor, give it some thought. Check out Rich Roll and his mini courses on nutrition and longevity. I won't rattle on too long here, but there's I've known about this for a long time. The Blue Zones Project, Dan Buettner, where he goes around the world looking for people who live to be communities where a lot of people live to be over 100 years old. A lot of that is primarily plant-based eating of very simple peasant-type foods. Along with other things, many other things, exercise and community and ikigai, a reason to live. But food is obviously a big part of it. So I encourage anybody who might be open-minded to think about it. That's not all Rich Roll talks about. He's into a whole lot of other stuff. And check him out. Anyway, I'm sure I've talked longer than most people have patience for, but I just wanted to say have a fun IPSD on Monday. And take care. Be well. Just want to show you here, I got a big improvement to my hut. A battery-powered LED light. There it is. So I can sit out here and read or whatever, even if it's dark out. Works pretty well. Technology is pretty remarkable. Bye-bye.